The Night of Hope at the Lexington Opera House tonight. The Hope Center holding its 15th annual Ball Homes Night of Hope fundraiser. As WKYT's Lexi Martin shows us, the night celebrates the power of recovery, healing, and second chances.
Together, we're continuing to help, to heal, and to give hope.
Wednesday night, the Hope Center celebrated their 15th annual Ball Homes Night of Hope at the Lexington Opera House.
We really focus on recovery and celebrating that.
The center has served Lexington for 30 years. It now has 8 facilities in the city. Destiny Oakley with the Hope Center says this celebration is a major fundraising event, so they can continue to provide resources to those in need.
The Hope Center's mission primarily is life-sustaining and life-rebuilding services that support those experiencing homelessness, mental health disorders, and substance abuse disorders.
Michael Sumner was a client at the Hope Center. Now he serves as a peer mentor. He says he wouldn't be where he is today without them.
I didn't think I had a chance before I came up here.
Wednesday's event served as an opportunity for current clients to be re-inspired by former clients' journeys.
They get to see the stories of the alumni, get to hear Daryl's story, and see that they can find hope, they can find a new life on the other side of some of the low points that they've experienced recently.
Michael hopes anyone who needs help turns to the Hope Center to be given a second chance, like the one they gave him.
You got problems and you get a chance to come through the Hope Center recovery. It is the best program, and it opens up a lot of doors. It really does.
In Lexington, Lexi Martin, WKYT.
Well, former All-Star MLB player and World Series champion Darryl Strawberry was the keynote speaker tonight, sharing his own story of redemption. For more information on the Hope Center, you can visit their website at hopectr.org.